From my point of view, I was a 28-year-old lieutenant flying in a helicopter in a destroyer at the time. We didn't get much contact with the political direction, but we were always sure from the press and all the other reports that we were getting over the radio that we had political backing back in the United Kingdom. We also had very good firm direction about what was going to be achieved. And the only contact I think that I was aware of was on the morning that we invaded South Georgia. I was in the destroyer Antrim. I was out looking for a submarine at the time in my helicopter, and Mrs Thatcher rang the captain on our satellite communications telephone, and she said, "I want to talk to the captain." And the 19-year-old radio operator on the end said, "Well, I'm afraid you can't, ma'am. He's busy." And you could hear this very sort of ruffled voice saying, "Well, I can't believe the captain's busy. He must talk to the Prime Minister, surely." And she said again, "Look, I'd like to talk to the captain." And this 19-year-old said, "Well, can't, ma'am. We're sinking a submarine at the moment." And you could hear this sort of explosion at the other end, and the Prime Minister saying, "Who told him to do that?" And so that was the only contact we had. But throughout, there was always this assurance for all of us down south that the Prime Minister had our best interest at heart. She was concerned about the losses and that she was determined to complete the job. And certainly when we were down there, there was no talk of us allowing the Argentinians to compromise or surrender. We wanted to kick them off the islands, and that accorded, I think, with what the Prime Minister wanted to.
And of course, ironically, before the Falklands, she was involved in a big fight with defence chiefs about sweeping cuts which she was proposing to the military, particularly the Navy. And that kind of side to her government has largely been forgotten in the wake of the success of the Falklands.
I think that's right. In 1981, when I was at sea, we were all lamenting the fact that we were about to lose the bulk of the Royal Navy, including our aircraft carriers and possibly our amphibious forces as well, including the Royal Marines. And these were the forces right at the forefront of the retaking of the Falklands. Now, I believe that in her early years, Mrs Thatcher was content to take advice from her Secretaries of State and departmental heads. Once she had seen what the military instrument of power could do for her in the Falklands, she got it. And after that, I don't think we had any problems. There is no doubt that the Falklands crisis saved the Royal Navy.
And to sum up, how would you describe Margaret Thatcher's legacy in terms of the military and the British Armed Forces?
I think that the United States and probably Europe would have had less confidence in confronting some of these issues, like the Balkans, like Iraq and like Afghanistan, if we hadn't had that signalled success in the Falklands and the consistent support of a politician who understood the armed forces and was able to articulate what exactly it did in terms of converting that military power into political, diplomatic and economic power in the world.